Good morning, everybody. I'm going to try something new here. I have a new audio player, so we're just going to fire this bad boy up and see how that goes. So I'd love your feedback on the new music. I've got a whole set of audio that's happening behind the scenes now. It'll change songs. It'll even let us know what the names of the songs are. Pretty cool. And it's YouTube and Twitch safe, so I don't have to worry about copyright stuff. So good morning. I am Jeff Blankenburg, TradeLast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the emails over the weekend. I know I didn't share the greatest of news with you, but hopefully you have some success with that. And I want to share some of my own sadness as well. Some of you that have been here before have been aware that I built an Alexa skill that allows you to change the lamp behind me. And I've struggled with it because I was using the if this then that API and it wasn't working properly, and I was having some challenges. And then I got the dagger in the heart this morning, and it actually has nothing to do with if this then that. My skill, Jeff Blankenburg, got pulled from the store. And here's why. I got a very nice email from the certification team, but as I suspected and was delighted when it didn't happen, you can't have a skill in the Alexa skill store that is just a name. There is a specific rule in the certification, but the examples that they use, actually, let's just bring it up. Let's do Alexa certification. I'm going to bring up my browser in a second. Guidelines. So I'm going here. I'm going to go to the Alexa certification guidelines. We're going to go to the requirements. And I want to show you guys kind of what I ran into. So policy guidelines, I think, is the one that it's under. It was like number... Maybe it's not this one. No, it must be a different one. By the way, if you're building an Alexa skill, you should know these backwards and forwards because it really is very, very important. Is this the one? Session management, intent response. There's one about invocation. Yeah, invocation names. But that's not the thing I want. Come on. There's a specific rule about using names. Maybe it's functional tests. Skill description and detail. Cards, account linking, audio playback. No, it's not this either. Man, where is that? I just said that you should know this backwards and forwards, and clearly I do not. Let's go back to policy guidelines, because I really feel like this is a policy-based thing. Skill recommendations, advertising, content general. Oh, invocation name requirements. Here we go. So I thought it was like number 3 or number 4. So these are the examples that they use for an invocation name that can include names of people or places are not allowed unless they contain other words. But the examples that they used here were all first names. And so I thought, well, I called it Jeff Blankenburg, so that must be okay. And then it went through certification and it passed. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I guess I misinterpreted that rule. But I was really expecting them to fail me here. So, E. Delvard, thank you for being here. Hey to you. And Haitian Sensation 1804. What a great name and sweet emoji. That must be one of the common ones, right? You can't just make your own. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for being here. One of the things that I wanted to do this morning was to first tell you this terrible story about how my skill just got pulled. So I think instead what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to rename it, basically give it a different invocation name. And so I'll have to update that at some point. But so for right now, if you guys are trying to use the skill, it is down. So you can't change the light with your voice, but you can still do it based on the chatbot that I created in the chat. And so if I head over to my chat, wherever that is, maybe it's right here. I can come in here and I can say !lamp red, and this should still work. Yeah, there we go. And so the lamp behind me is red now. So that's a good example of how you can still change the light if you'd like to. I'm going to change it back to green, and then you guys can do with it as you feel necessary. But that is the only way now to change the lamp, is in chat until I can update the skill. And then I also want to update the skill with the new calls that I'm making directly to the LifeX API instead of the if this then that API, because I feel like I was running into some rate limiting or something. It wasn't clear to me. It didn't feel like I had enough traffic to really rate limit, but something is wrong, and so it doesn't seem to work very well anyway. Anyway, so that's that. The other thing that I wanted to do was run a poll, and maybe, I don't know if we want to wait for a few more people to show up, or if we just want to ask the few of you that are here. But let's just give this a try, because I've never done this before. But apparently I can do polls here on Twitch, and I'm going to poll you guys. I came up with 5 choices for things that we could do when we get to 500 followers. And this is probably going to require some help from you guys. I can only make so much noise yelling on Twitter and everything else. But I would love to be able to continue to grow our audience. You guys have an awesome conversation in chat usually during these streams, and I think adding more people to that will be a good benefit. On top of that, and we'll talk about this later, I'm also trying to find ways to now allow you guys to basically raise money for a charity by participating in this stuff as well. I've been thinking hard about this, and it didn't occur to me at first, but the conference that I run, Stir Trek, or I shouldn't say I run, I with a team of people put together, have a conference called Stir Trek, and we started a scholarship for women in technology, especially young women, like coming out of high school going to college. It's a scholarship. And we started a charity specifically to raise money for women that are going into technological majors in college. And so I think that's what we're going to do. So if anybody wants to subscribe, or there's a lot of ways to use bits to interact, know that you have the peace of mind that all of that money will be going to a scholarship for women in technology. And I'll have to write some official things up on the channel, but I just wanted to let you know that that is the case. And speaking of that, let's get right to doing this poll, because I've never done this before. So I'm going to start the poll. There we go, and a poll just appeared. And then I think, yeah, look, the results display right here on my screen. I added this as a feed. So if you guys can grab that poll that's in the chat, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I'd love to know which one of these we should pick for when we get to 500 followers. That actually turned out super cool, considering I'd never seen it or tested it. So it'll only run for about 10 minutes. So I would love for you guys to throw your votes in there. And I think it will also let you vote with those bits. And that's if you want to vote additional times. But you can see the results live here on the screen as the survey goes on. It looks like we've got 15 or so people, so I'd love for you all to stop over, even if you're just using this as background music, to give us a vote and let us know what you think. But I came up with 5 interesting choices, and right now it's wear an X-Wing helmet. That's interesting. I would be happy to do that for a stream, but oh, we got 3 now. Goodness. 4? All I had to do was say something. It should be at the top of the stream chat. I think if I look at the stream chat, it's like right here. It drops down. My goodness, I think we've got our next thing, and maybe that'll be the thing on this channel. It's decorating my head in some way. We've done Bob Ross for 250. It's looking heavily like it's going to be an X-Wing helmet. Which is going to require me to get an X-Wing helmet. But it's a good way to use your points. You're right, WKY Jr. Thank you for voting, everybody. So again, I'm going to let this roll for a little bit. It goes for 10 minutes. So this is a fun, interactive way to do this. I think what I'm going to try and do is come to every stream with a poll of some kind. It won't always be this meaningful. But I'm going to try and bring a poll each time that we come, so that we have some way to interact and have a conversation about a subject or whatever. I would also love to know in the chat, like, how's the music? How's the audio? Is it too loud? Too soft? It's kind of an upbeat thing, which is kind of my jam. I'm an upbeat, positive, like, let's go get it kind of person generally, and so I'm glad to hear that the music is working. Cool. You'll also notice that if you scroll up a little bit in the chat, or maybe you can see it right now, there's a chatter named Pretzel Rocks. This is the service that I'm using for the audio, and every time a new song starts, they will post, and you can click and like find out more about that song or whatever. So super cool. And I love that all the music is is copyright free too, so I don't have to worry about breaking any rules or getting blocked on YouTube when these videos end up there. For the Bob Ross episode, I used the Bob Ross theme song behind the scenes the whole time, and YouTube hit me hard. Now, it doesn't take my video down or anything like that. It just means that any revenue that video makes, which YouTube, I don't make any money on YouTube, but they roll an ad before they show every one of my videos, and that ad revenue goes to the copyright holder, not to me. So that's the only ding that I get, but it kind of stinks to have your content monetized by somebody else, basically. All right, so we've got a few things going on. We've got a poll. It's definitely looking like X-Wing Helmet is going to be our winner. But now I need help finding those 200 more people. I think we're at just under 300. I think that's the number. I haven't looked recently. But 500 feels like a new fun goal. And then we can also consider what does it look like for 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 if we ever get there. But obviously, with each of these accomplishments, with each of these goals that we put together, it's a team effort, and they should get harder as we go, I think, right? An X-Wing helmet. I'm gonna have to go shopping and see what I can come up with for that. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing, and so we've got good audio. We've got a poll running for a few more minutes. If anybody else still wants to throw a vote in there, you can. But I think the X-Wing helmet's going to win, and I'm kind of digging the polls. I think that's something we're going to have to do more. I really like that, and I like that it sits on top of my screen here, so we can see that even if we're doing some other work. All right, so I'm going to see what it's like to end a poll early, because I can do that too. So let's end our poll. I think we've got all the votes we're going to get. There we go. Wear an X-Wing helmet. That is our winner. W. Giorgio spent 200 of his points. That's super cool. All right, so I'm going to hold on to that. We'll just close that out. And the other thing I wanted to do is if I hit raid channel, what is that? Ooh. I can just, we're gonna end our session on this today. We're gonna go raid somebody with like 5 minutes to go in our session and see who's around and go show up on another channel. I've never done that before, so we'll see how that works too. Okay, so let's get to some real stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get rid of that poll results. I think I just have to manually turn that off the screen, which I can do like that. Okay. And let's get into our scavenger hunt. I mean, that's the whole thing that I've been working on lately, and there's still lots of work to be done. So I feel like this is the place where I should spend some time writing some code and getting into this. And then at some point, I'm going to have to focus on the Jeff Blankenburg skill. I need to come up with another name. The first thought that I had when I was getting ready this morning in the shower was, like, I could call it, like, Blankenskill or something like that. But if you guys have ideas for what the invocation name for that skill should be instead of my name, I could even call it Jeff's skill, but I don't think you're allowed to use the word skill. Yeah, we need to figure that out. So I'm going to need a new invocation name. I'm not really changing the skill. It's just I've got to come up with a new invocation name. Okay, let's see if my stool will cooperate. There we go. And our next step is to write a little code. So let me get the other keyboard out of the way. Okay. We're in a good working space now. So there's a few things that we worked on last week, especially Friday. We worked on dynamic entities and slot management. I wasn't able to figure out the catalog management stuff. We really struggled with that. but I think that we'll come back to that. I'm going to have to talk with some folks internally or read some notes or something. I wasn't able to figure out exactly what I was supposed to do there. So we will have to figure that out at a later date. But I have a bunch of to-dos in here, and I thought it might be interesting to offer some of those, because this is also going to force us to change our data and some other things. I just noticed that Wildbagger IP says there's definitely some reasonable X-Wing helmets on eBay. That's good to know. Some people are learning Norwegian and Danish. Man, like I feel adventurous. I travel a bit for work. For those of you that don't, like if you've been watching me on Twitch for the last month or two, you may not realize that a lot of my job is spent traveling the world and going to speak at conferences and talk to developers and basically show people how to do a lot of the cool stuff that we're doing here on the stream. But with the state of the world, I can't really do that. So that's why I'm streaming so much on here. I hope to continue doing this, but I know that once the world goes back to normal, there's going to be weeks where I'm just gone, or I'm going to have to do it in a lesser state, because I don't have a portable studio, and that may be something that I need to invest in. But I need a way to carry like a streaming PC and a Stream Deck and a extra monitor and lighting and all the other stuff with me, which I have a case for. I don't know how to. I think it's the PC part that I'm really concerned about, because I'd have to like throw it under an airplane to do this well. I have a new laptop, but I'm not sure how that will do either. So there's lots to explore, but I'm going to have to figure out how to do remote streaming. And I think we may have to experiment with that here in the next couple of weeks as the weather gets warmer. I may just go outside on my back porch or something and try to stream from there using the equipment that I have available to me and see how that works. So that's for the future, though. All right, so the thing that I was thinking about doing today was in-skill purchasing, because I could just, as I look at these to-dos that I have up here, and I have, if I just look through my code, I have 12 to-dos in total, but only 6 of them are here at the top. I thought maybe we could just work through a couple of these. So I don't know what Pelican 1610 is, or Pecan. Peiican WKY. I'm not sure what that is. But I thought we could do some ISP stuff. That's something I haven't played with in a little while, and it feels. Oh, a Pelican. I see. It looks like that's 2 eyes to me that you wrote there, but maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe my eyes are getting old. I love Pelican cases. I have a couple of them, but I don't think that's what I have. Hold on, I'll be right back. What is the brand of case that I have? So I've become a big fan of the Nana cases. The brand looks like this. That is the brand of cases that I use for stuff, and I have a few of those. So I have a big one that's the size of like a small trunk. I have an orange one that actually has a custom inset for my drone. But they're fantastic. They're even waterproof, which is pretty cool. And they have all the foam inlay and all that stuff. So WK Wyatt, I'm with you. I think that these big like cases are great. I have the case. What I don't have is a PC that I can transport easily. I'm thinking about just getting like a small little guy. Like I don't think I need a whole tower. All I need is a PC that can basically run the stream for me. But there's a lot to figure out there, because then I also have to have all of my. I have to have a light and a camera and a microphone, and then all of that stuff has to be set up in the software there. So, hey, Karthik's here. Oh, Karthik, you missed the survey, man. We did a survey on what we should do for getting to 500, and the decision was made that I'm gonna have to wear an X-Wing helmet for an entire episode. So that's gonna be the thing that we're driving towards as we head towards 500. So good morning, Karthik. Thank you for being here. It's always good to have the crew here. We got a good group of folks that participate in the chat pretty regularly, and I'm super honored that you guys keep showing up. So like I said, we're gonna work on some a dance challenge. Let's let's not escalate too quickly. I think that we need to keep some more aggressive goals for the future. But a dance challenge, I don't think you realize how bad a dancer I really am. I'm not sure that that would be fun for anyone to watch. So anyway, so we have the X-Wing helmet. We'll figure out a way to do that. And I'm going to build some ISP stuff. So I have to remember how to do that. And I think the first step is we want to sell hints. And what we were talking about originally, this was written very, very early in our development, is that we would sell hints for $1 or $1.99 or something like that. I think we can still do that, but we do it as a consumable. It is too late to have me dress like an Ewok. Yes, it is too late. I gave you 5 very reasonable choices, and you guys picked X-Wing helmet. So we'll have to get me to 500, and then we'll talk about one for 1,000. But we're gonna have to figure this out. So for ISPs, I feel like hints are something that you can buy, and you're probably going to use immediately, but you use them up. So that's going to be a consumable type. And what I'll have to do is use my user database to keep track of how many, in-skill purchase. Sorry, WKY. In-skill purchase. So we have skills. ISPs are in-skill purchases. It's like an IAP, in-app purchase. But people can buy things with their voice, basically. So I'm going to have a consumable type that is a hint. And you'll be able to buy hints, but I think we also need to set some guidelines or some rules around this, because what I don't want you to do is use a hint for every puzzle. I feel like if you were to play a game of 5 puzzles, that's what every game will be, you should be allowed to use 1 hint. And maybe you shouldn't even be allowed to use that hint on the last one. So in puzzles 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could use a hint, but it will be the only hint you're allowed to use that game. I feel like that seems like a good set of rules, because I don't want you to win the game, like finish it and win with a hint. That feels cheating. That feels like cheating. I don't want you to be able to buy your way into success, but if you want to buy your way past one of the levels because you're struggling on it, I think that's okay. So let's figure out how to build a consumable hint for $1.99, and then I think in our second to-do here we had, do we want to let users play games from previous weeks? This seems like a good subscription thing, and maybe for $4.99 a month, right? This is a monthly subscription. If you have the subscription, then you can go back and play any of the previous week's games, if you haven't already, or maybe again, even if you have. I don't know how that'll work. We'll figure that out as we get there. But in addition to that, you automatically get 1 hint every week. And so I wouldn't need to keep track of your hints at that point. You would just be able to use a hint in every game. I think that's a reasonable way to do that. So we're going to have a consumable and we're going to have a subscription. Okay, so now that we're there, let's say ask new ISP. Is that right? I don't even remember. No, it's not. It's not that. It's ask add ISP. Okay, so this gives me my options. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit for you guys since we're just on the command line. List of in-skill product types that you can choose. I'm going to choose a consumable. And I'm going to choose the consumable template, I guess, because that's the only one I can choose. And I want to call this hint. Karthik, I have not updated to the new CLI yet. I need to do that. But no, I have not. I haven't updated to the new SDK either. So I'm going to call this hint. That creates the hint consumable for me. And then I'm going to do ask add ISP. And this time we're going to choose a subscription. And what are we going to call it? Subscription template. What's a good... I think I'm just going to call it subscription. Okay, so now if we look in my directory, I have a new folder called ISPs. And in here there's a folder for consumable and one for subscription. So let's look at that consumable one first. And in here, you can see we have hint.json. So I'm just going to open hint.json. And what this gives me in my editor is all of the data that I need for an in-skill purchase. So there's lots and lots of information here, but the most important one is the price. So I'm going to set this to $1.99. My currency is US dollars. My release date, I want this available on day 1. So we're going to do year, 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 month, month, day, day. So we're going to do 20. Oh, let's get rid of some quotation marks. 2020 0501. So that'll be my release date for my consumable. That's the day it'll be available. It'll always be in the past because there's no way we're getting this skill live by May 1st, but that way at least I have a release date to give that a try for. The rest of this stuff is used in a number of different ways, but we have to provide most of this information in order to publish our ISP to the web. So we'll have to fill all this stuff in. A lot of these things like summary and description and purchase prompts, these are things that get used by Alexa as people are trying to use our skills. They're trying to buy our items. So we'll have to use that in some way eventually. I'm not going to fill all this stuff in now, but we have our hint. And if I look at my directory, we also have my subscription. And we'll set the price on this too, just so that those things are at least set properly. We said this is going to be $4.99. The release date for this will be the same. So it'll be 2020 0501. Okay. Save that. And then all of the rest of this is probably fine. There's frequency here, and I need this to be monthly or yearly. So we're going to make this monthly. And subscription trial, we'll make it a number of days. We'll make it a 2-day trial. So if you want to try playing some of the earlier games or get a hint once, because the way the system is set up, you can only actually get the trial once. So if you were to cancel your subscription and then start it again, the trial wouldn't still be available to you. So 2 days seems fair. Every time I see the Pretzel Rocks update, I have to look at the chat, and I realize it's not something I need to talk about. All right, so that's all good for now. We're not going to be able to publish these, I don't think, without filling a lot of this data in, but I don't want to do that yet, because I don't know what my icons and all that other stuff is going to... Like, what happens here if I just try this? I'm guessing that it's going to tell me I need some more data, so let's come to my CLI, and we'll say ask deploy. Let's just force everything. My guess is that it's going to freak out. Can't find skill.json in the current working directory. Oh, that's because I'm in the wrong directory. So let's try that again. Ask deploy. And this time, we're updating the skill. We're going to push the interaction model. It's going to make sure that the model builds and all that stuff. And then I think the next step is ISPs. It does that before Lambda. Oh, another question I had for all of you is streaming times. I kind of just picked 10 to noon every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But part of me is really tempted to try doing more. Is there an afternoon time that you guys like? If I was to go like, I don't know, 3 to 5 p.m. on maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays or something. I don't know that I can commit to streaming every day like that, because on Tuesdays and Thursdays I already do a bunch of streaming on the Amazon Alexa channel. And whether or not you guys believe this, it takes a lot out of you to stand here and Oh, man. I'm dying just trying to explain it. It takes a lot out of you here to stand here for 2 hours and code and explain and talk to folks. And so I'm always curious what people think. If you want more, if you want less. What's the equivalent time in IST? Well, 10 a.m. is 30 minutes ago. So whatever 30 minutes ago was for you, start up. And then 2 p.m., 3 p.m. would be 5 hours later. So, 4.5 hours from now. That's probably too late for India. But I feel like I could be doing more different extra. Like, the thing that kills me is that this game is the scavenger hunt that we're building. This is only being built when I'm on stream. Like, I'm not writing additional code. I'm not doing anything at all on this code when we're not on stream. And so there's a lot of me that wants to keep working on it. And so I feel like if I'm going to do that, I should do more of it on stream. I don't know. It's just a thought I had. We can see that my ISPs failed, as I expected. Invalid small icon, invalid large icon. So I guess maybe we'll work on these. We'll create some icons and upload them and put them in places that they need to be. So let's start with hint. I need an icon for this, and I don't even know what my scavenger hunt logo or any of this stuff is going to be, so we're probably going to swap these out. But I'm going to have to create an icon. So there's a good way to do this. If I come in here to developer.amazon.com, there is I thought I would have it here. Okay. So let's do Alexa icon builder. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Is there a web link to check the streaming schedule? There actually is, kind of. Twitch.tv. If you just go to the web page for this stream, you can see that I'm going to pause this just so we don't play that stuff. But down here, where did this go? Oh, there it is. So you can see that it says I'm live now, but the schedule is right there below you on the page, and it says Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. So if I add additional sessions, they will be listed here. And so this is probably the best way, is just to check the page, because I will update this week to week. So if anything changes, I'll take a Friday off or a Wednesday off or whatever. But this is my plan, and then when I'm not live, it also counts this thing down. So this is your best bet. I've also thought about putting together like a Google Calendar that you guys could subscribe to. Yeah, and it's using that same stuff. So if you go to the new page, so I'll type that out for you guys all here. If I could type my own name. I think that will take you to my schedule page also. I think. So if I come back here and I do click on that. That didn't work. Oh, what is this? Oh, are you guys kidding me? Oh, I didn't realize that. So that's embedded right into my stream now? What if I don't want it there? I didn't realize that just shows up. Can you guys all see that icon on your stream? The little music thing? I don't know if you guys all have that or not. Oh, you can. Awesome. So it looks like you guys can vote on what music we listen to. I didn't even realize that was a thing. So that's the music service that I'm using. And it looks like you guys can vote and pick songs and do all sorts of crazy stuff. That's cool. Oh, it does say no track playing. That's because I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I had to play it as like background audio. I literally have no idea what I'm doing then. So I don't think there's a way for me to moderate that here. Yeah, I don't know where I do that then. I'm gonna have to figure that out for next time. But okay, so that icon shows up and it lets you guys play, but it's clearly not tied into the audio that I'm playing. So I don't know, we'll figure all that nonsense out. So I was going to go do an icon. So we're going to do something really simple. I'm going to get rid of the icon that I have. I need like a question mark. Does that exist? Come on. There's got to be a question mark is. Yeah, it looks like trade last. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I don't actually know how that works at all. I just added it about an hour before the stream, and I was like, oh, cool, music, and I'll bring that in. But I'm using it as like a desktop source, so it's actually playing live on my computer, and then I'm just bringing that audio in, which is pretty easy to do. That's what I want. Did that swap it out to a question mark? It did. Okay, perfect. That's good enough. I just need an icon. So we'll download that. We'll call this hint. And then I need one for subscription. Do we have subscribe? No, not subscript. Yeah, I see the chat window stuff. What I don't see is, like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to tie that little widget that's on the screen into the music that I'm actually playing. Very, very interesting. So I don't want that. I want, what are my other options? I just need something for, like, subscribe, which would be like, is there like a join? I'll just use this. This is like a repeating subscription. I just need something. I'm gonna swap these out for something better later. Subscribe. Okay. So then over here, yeah, I don't know enough about what I'm doing with that to get it right. I don't know. Let's see. You guys seem to want to play with the music, so. Don't. No, I'm gonna have to do this another time. There's just no way for me to figure this out live, and I don't want to burn our whole stream just trying to figure out how to get that music to work. So I'll play with that after we're done, and figure that out. So the first thing that I need to do is get those icons and use them. So let's go to my desktop, maybe. It seems like the lamp is working though, which is the good news. I have that running locally in a Node instance on my machine. So when you guys type that in, it's actually hitting Node on my machine and then calling the lamp. I have an EC2 instance set up, but I find that it's just easier to just run it off my machine. Okay, so open. What just happened? My entire machine just went black. Let's flip over to this for a little while we wait for my machine to cooperate. Somebody turned it red. So WKY, it's got it figured out. Startup, you have to, I changed the syntax. You have to tell the lamp to turn red, so you can do !lamp space and then the name of your color. You can also use hex values. So if you would rather specify a specific HTML hex value, you can do !lamp space, #, whatever. But it does not work by just typing words anymore. You're putting spaces between the letters. It won't work with that. I'm not parsing out your spaces. Well, my machine has completely stopped working. This is another reason why you stream from a different machine than you use, because Otherwise, the whole stream would have dropped. There you go, WK Wyatt. You got your nice pinkish color. I don't know what to do. My machine is not cooperating. Do I just reboot it? It looks like I'm rebooting. I couldn't get it to do anything. So hopefully we'll get this started here in a second. So we can talk about what I was going to do with ISPs, because apparently we're just going to have fail hour today. Wow, interesting, Karthik. I didn't realize that. It is like a wake word. You're definitely right. Karthik, 800 people hurt your machine, huh? I feel like all that chat doesn't happen locally. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, getting 800 folks on your stream, that was a remarkable feat. And I hope that someday I can achieve your level of greatness, because, you know, we have, as you can see, I added a little ticker here, but we have 17 people watching right now, which is a good number for me. I'm usually in the 15s to 20s. So, yeah, the chat has to be hosted, I think. Okay, so back to my machine. We're logging in. It's going to need to start up here briefly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the chat is definitely running in my Streamlabs also here. That's what I actually look at when I'm talking to all of you. So, I guess you're right, yeah, we bring all that stuff in. Man, my laptop is not happy, and that's weird because I just rebooted it this morning too. This is odd. Oh, this beard, my goodness. I'm really glad you guys didn't pick mustache only. That would have been bad. Me too, Karthik. I don't have a marketing team promoting or doing anything to push this. It is definitely challenging. Still waiting for my machine to come back. And I've got nothing. It's just churning along here. So how are all of you? What'd you guys do this weekend? I will tell you what I did. I spent not nearly as much time as I thought I would building a Raspberry Pi arcade machine this weekend. So I loaded a bunch of software. One is called RetroPie, and I installed that as the operating system on a Raspberry Pi. And I set it all up, and I got a bunch of ROMs that I have for games that I own. And I was able to basically play like old Super Mario Brothers, a bunch of other fun games that I really enjoy, and got it all running off of a Raspberry Pi, and it worked so well. I plugged an Xbox One controller in just via USB, and it worked perfectly. And so now I've gone through the process of getting some USB-based native controllers, so like an original NES controller, but it's USB, so I can plug it into this Raspberry Pi and use the real old controllers. I also have Super Nintendo coming, and I have the, not GameCube, but the N64 controllers. So all of those are coming here soon. And I'll be able to play those, but I think you shaved your head. Karthik, you've got to post a picture right now in the chat of a picture of you with all of your hair gone. I don't believe you for a moment. You had this gorgeous head of hair. Where you shaved it off? I gotta see it. Pixar didn't happen, right? Isn't that what we say on the internet? My goodness. It says Karthik streams early morning, almost the time I go to bed, so I mostly miss those. Oh, that's too bad. Karthik's got some good stuff going on his channel. All right, we are almost back in business here. I'm going to open up my browser. And what happens if I say restore my tabs? Does it bring back the stuff I want? No. Twitch. Oh, the big reveals tonight on your stream. No previews here? Man, I'd love to see a preview. All right, well, like, privately DM me or something. I got to see it, because I don't know that I'll be able to watch your stream. I think that's in the middle of... Or no, you have a stream coming up, don't you? Yeah, I'll have to tune in for that. Now my internet isn't working. All right, so somebody said, what's the coolest implementation of ISP you've seen? That's a good question. A lot of them are pretty standard, so I don't have anything that's like the coolest. There have been a couple, though, where they treat the seller, and just to give a background on in-skill purchasing for all of you, just the network on my laptop. The streaming is still working. I think you guys can all see me. It's just that my laptop seems to not want to cooperate with connecting to the internet right now. So I saw one where I think it's Yes Sire. I think that's the game that I'm thinking of. And you are a king, and you have your court. They come to you all the time, and they say, "Sire, should we do this or should we do this?" And it's always yes or no kind of questions. And they wanted to sell ISPs, and so the way that they did that is they just introduced a new character that was the banker or something like that. And that way, when you get kicked over to the other voice, because it's always Alexa's voice. No, I think this is just a Wi-Fi issue. I hope it's just a Wi-Fi issue. Let's go to a wired connection for my laptop and see if that does anything. Yeah, I'm really struggling technically here today. Have I implemented can fulfill intent? No, I haven't. I haven't done can fulfill intent yet. I haven't had a situation in which I'm doing something that's common. I tend to build kind of unique things that are not common, like a weather or a ordering or something like that. So I haven't played a lot with can fulfill, but I probably should. What's your experience been, Trade Last? We're almost back. I agree with you, Karthik. I have wired internet, and it hadn't been very reliable, so I'd kicked over to the Wi-Fi. My streaming machine is always on wired. I get fantastic speed here. I think I usually have between 600 and 1,000 megs a second download, and close to 100 to 150 up. So it's always the stream is always pretty good. It's just that being able to take this a step further and get the laptop on, that's the bigger issue. Creator dashboard, is that what I want? W. Giorgio asked about my Star Wars database. I mean, yeah, potentially. I haven't even looked at how I indicate what kinds of questions I can answer or what I can fulfill. So that might be something that I need to do for the Star Wars database. The other thing I need to do is really be much better about filling in that data. I haven't worked on that in a little while, but I do want to get that thing more robust, more filled in. It just takes a lot of time to create all of that data. Okay, we're getting closer. The other thing that I want to do is get a chat up here so I can actually respond to you guys from my laptop. And that's good now. Man, this is a lot of downtime that I was not expecting. Okay, I think I have everything back. Right. See, we've got a... That's interesting. We have a few people tuned in that are not really chatting, which is fine. I don't want anyone to feel pressure to chat. But it's always interesting for me to look at the list and see names that I've never seen chat before. But thank you guys for being here. There's a few folks. Crazy Bone, Commander Root, Electrical Longboard, Grumpalot 23. Those are all names I've never seen chat, but you don't have to. It's just I wanted to give you a little shout out. Thanks for being here. Virgo Praz, V and K. Very cool. Okay, so we were working on our ISP, specifically on getting our icons uploaded. So I can go back to this now if I plug my laptop back into the stream. Maybe. Boom. And we are back. Okay. So the thing that I need to do is get those images uploaded. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my browser and I'm just going to go to S3 and drop them there. So let's go to AWS S3 and I'm going to have to take those images that we created and upload them directly to the server. And so I have these 2 zip files that I downloaded, one called subscribe, one called hint. And I think in here there's a 512 and a 108. It does that for you automatically. So I have those icons now available to me. That's perfect. Again, I'm not going to use these icons. They're not the ones that I will use forever, but they're the ones I'm going to use for now. And in S3, I have to log in. And where should I put this? I guess scavenger hunt. I've put everything else there. And we'll put, we'll call this folder icons. And inside this folder is where we're going to put our items. So we'll come to upload, we'll choose add files, and we want, see, it doesn't name them properly. I don't love that. I wonder if I could just take the 2 folders. Don't let me do that either. It's just going to let me open them. All right, so I'll just take these 2. These are the hint ones, and I'll have to rename them. So we'll call this hint 108. And we'll call this one hint 512. Okay, so then these have paths, so I can take the path to this image, copy the link address, and we'll come over here, and this is now, I'm in hint, and I want the large version. That's going to be this image here, and then I need the small version. That's this path. I'll put that here. So now I have my small and my large icons for that. The other thing that I need to do is upload the other ones. So we'll come back to icons. We'll add 2 more images. This time we'll go to the subscription folder. Choose these 2. Upload those. Rename. This one's going to be subscribe 108. And this one is going to be subscribe 512. Okay. Can I just do here? Can I get like copy link address? So for my subscription, I will need my large icon. And for my subscribe, I'll take this one, copy link, put that here. Okay. This has a maximum length of 50. So we'll just call this... Oh, get out of the way. Okay. This will become monthly subscription. Summary. Description. I'm going to leave these for now because I like to hear them said. When I hear to do, that means, oh, I need to go fix that thing. But then I have the context of how it's used, because I often forget, like, when do they use the summary? When do they use the description? When do they use the purchase prompt description? So those are all good. And then for hint, I'm going to do the same thing. This is probably too long. So we'll call this puzzle hint. I think everything else can stay the way that it is. So let's try pushing our stuff again. And get our ISPs uploaded to the server and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I recovered from a full machine crash. That was pretty fun. I don't know how long we were actually down, but it was longer than I would have liked. I'm going to take that as a note, W. Giorgio. Let's do can fulfill intent one of these days. That's a good thing for me to know, and it seems like you guys are interested in that, so I can crack open the Star Wars source and see what we can do about that. Not today. I've got enough to do today, I think. But we'll do that in a future stream. While we're waiting, we could also do... Did I lose all my internet again? Goodness. Just not my day today. Oh, that also killed the terminal window that I was running earlier. Not that. I want to do node bot.js. That worked. Okay, cool. Yeah, it turns out if you shut your machine down, any node instances you have are not running anymore either. Okay, so we are still loading. Our next step is going to be, hopefully our ISPs don't fail. And if they do fail, then I'm going to fill in whatever other necessary data they want. I feel like this might be okay. It might freak out about my privacy policy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I haven't done ISPs in a little while. Not since we did the TKO trivia stuff. That's the last time that I really dabbled in that. It's taking an awfully long time. I'm guessing we may get an error because it just choked. I mean, I'm on my wired connection now, so I feel like this should all be pretty zippy. Okay, I still need product definition. Oh, the violation is the privacy URL. Okay. I have one of those. that in there for the privacy link, for hint and for subscription. And this time we'll just push the ISPs, which I can do with mass deploy, target ISP. Oh, Startup is asking if this is the height adjustable desk. Yes, it very much is. You can see that if I do, let's see, we're at 42.5 right now, but I can go down, like we can do this. That's the whole desk moving up and down. Obviously, I'm not changing my height, but that's... And there we are, back to the height we were at. It's cool. It gives me a measurement every 0.2 inches, I think it is. But I have this table at like 42 inches. So, what did I fail now? Okay, so my images must not be public. We can fix that too. What if I choose all of these? Make public. Can't do that. So let's go up a directory. Make that public. Yeah. Make public. And make all of these public. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's motorized too. So all I had to do was just push a button on the desk and it just raises and lowers itself. It's pretty awesome. Okay, my ISPs are there. They're loaded. Awesome. Okay. Time to sit down and get into this. So one of the things that I'm going to need to know is, does the user have any hints? Well, I think the way we're going to know that is, did we save it in Airtable? So this will probably go in my user table. So we'll go look at data, user, and we'll have a new column that is called hint count. And this is just going to be a number, only an integer. It sounds like that music's rocking out. That's still not too loud, right? So we'll save that. I can set a default value too, which is pretty nice. Okay, so now I have 0 hints, which is good to know. And I need to be able to we need to know in the game itself. Oh man. Can I do this the right way? No. One of the things that we did early on in this is we built a game, just to talk about my data structure for a minute. We built a game, and in the game there are 5 puzzles. And so you can see for the April 18th game that we have our 5 puzzles that are listed here. This knows which one is active automatically depending on a date timestamp. And so then there's each puzzle, and these are the individual puzzles. These are just some made-up answers for right now, but I have the puzzle itself, what date time it is, its title, responses, all that stuff. And then I have a user puzzle table. This user puzzle table is a reflection of a user completing a puzzle. right? So we have that data matched together, and we can say that they finished it, and we know when and whatever. The problem that I've run into is that the way that I know what's going on with the game is I just get the puzzles that don't also have the user ID over here. So if you've done the first 3, then when I say go get the puzzles for this game, it's going to return to me just the last 2 because you will have completed the first 3. So I only want the first. I want the first one you haven't finished in order. Oh, W. Giorgio shared something. I hope you don't mind. I figured I would share this. Hopefully it helps others. It looks like it is a way to mix poly voices with background audio using Node.js and Airtable. My goodness, I'm going to click on that. We're going to take a look. Oh, this is so cool. Make a new base. So I'd love to know, W. Giorgio, how are you doing this? Or I guess Dan Mittendorf also. But like, how are you actually doing the mixing? Is it creating new audio files for you on the fly? That's pretty awesome. You guys should go check that out. I'm going to add this as a... Let's start. It's starred. It's been starred. I did the star. I was in Airtable somewhere. How many browsers do I have open? So now what I need to figure out is, in a game, how do I know whether or not you've used a hint? I think it has to go in the user puzzle table. Hint used. This is a checkbox. So that's good. The other thing that I will need to know is what is the hint, right? Every puzzle now has to have a hint. So we'll have to figure that out too. I don't know how we're going to deliver that. I don't know if that's enough. Because do I need a voice hint and a text hint and a screen hint and a... Probably. We'll have to think through that. So if I have a hint that I can deliver to you, then we're probably going to need a hint intent, right? And this is where we get back into our code, is I'm going to need a hint intent. Something that's like, give me a hint, or whatever. So we still have this hello world intent that I'm not using, so I'll use this. We'll call this the hint intent. And in here, it'll be like hint. Give me a hint. Use a hint. W. Giorgio, I think that's pretty cool, man. And you're hitting me right in the sweet spot with the Airtable too, because that's where I want to configure this stuff. That's where I want to keep that metadata. It's time for a jelly rabbit. You guys haven't had these? This company, Mally's, if I can get in front of my camera. Mally's Chocolates. They're based in Cleveland. They make the best stuff. One jelly rabbit. Hopefully the chewing doesn't get picked up on the mic. Get a hint. I don't know. Give me a clue. What else could I say here? Use a clue. So my thought is with this... Oh yeah, help me out. That's a good one. Thank you. The way I think that this intent is going to work is you're going to call into this intent. If you have a hint, I'll probably have to confirm that you really wanted to use it, because you're spending money, basically. If you don't have any hints, that is a situation in which, if you don't have any hints, that's where I will offer you to buy one. Because if you have one, great. No reason to take you through the purchase process or any of that stuff. Okay, so we have a hint intent. I'm going to update my model just because I can. So let's do ask deploy target model. And we can just let that run because I don't really care. But what we need to do is then come over to this. And we need to build a new help intent. Well, I use the help intent as my template somewhere. There's my help intent. And we will create a new one called the hint intent handler. Hint intent handler. Previous action was the hint intent, not the Amazon one. Hint message is fine for now. And then down at the bottom, I've got to put my hint intent handler. Okay, so the rigging is there, the plumbing is there. So now we need to come into my hint intent handler, the one we just created. And let's write a couple of to-dos. If the user has a hint available, ask them if they are sure they want to use it. If the user doesn't have a hint, offer to sell them one. Somewhere in here, I don't know how I'm going to do this yet, to do, sometimes remind them that a monthly subscription gets them weekly hint. Okay, so those are the things that I need to do. And this will all be based on the session attributes, which I believe this is one of those ones that I have to update. So if I come into get user record, I think this is where I say I only want certain bits of the record. No, it did not. Creating user record. So when we find our record for our user, we will know how many hints they have already. That'll be saved in our session. I don't have to do any extra work for that. Just creating the field in the database gives me what I need. So that means here, I'm just going to say you have how many hints? You currently, no, I don't need caps like that. You currently have hints available. Do you want to use one? Karthik, I do not use headphones at all while I'm streaming. There's nothing in or on my ears at all. So I tend not to, especially when I'm streaming, there's nothing I really need to hear. That's why I always ask you guys once in a while if the music's playing, but I can see a mixer that shows me that the music is playing, so I know there's audio playing behind the scenes. But my loves, the headphones that I use the most, are the Bose Quiet Comfort 35s. Cover my face. Those. They're wireless, they're Bluetooth, they're the most comfortable things I've ever worn. I can wear these for hours on airplanes and everything else. The big goal for me is that it has to have a big cup size. The cup makes the huge difference because my entire ear can fit inside that cup, so I don't have any pressure on the actual flaps of my ear or whatever. These I still like and I still use, and I use them on stream because they're so bright and they stand out. These are made by, I don't think these are made anymore, but these are made by Monster, and these came out when the brightly colored Nokia Windows phones were released. These were kind of released at the same time. And the sound of these is still fantastic. They are Bluetooth, they are wireless. They have controls on them on the back side here, so you can see there's buttons. If I can get my face out of the way. There's buttons on the back of the thing, and that lets you control like volume and stuff like that. But I always have these plugged in. I have a wire on them because it's just more reliable. When I'm streaming, I can't afford for the stream to drop or the audio to die, or like these need to be charged, right? And so I can't have the battery die. And the battery lasts a long time, but if I'm not paying enough attention and I don't check and the battery's at like 20%, during a 2-hour stream, I might be able to lose the signal. So while I stream, I don't use them, but I do find that I use them quite a bit when I work. And I use those Bose for that. So I really like the Bose. It sounds like W. Giorgio has the Sony WH-1000Xs. But I will be perfectly honest, like for short periods of time, I can even use the Echo Buds. I use my AirPods only for when I'm streaming. So that's another good option. Are there any good kids headphones with limit volume? I do not know the answer to that question, Startup. My kids only recently just started using headphones, and so my daughter actually has a pair of these. I got them as a gift when I did Remars, and I didn't need them, so she got a pair of these, but they're black. But I think they're really careful about their volumes. Kids these days are really aware of the damage that they do to their bodies with audio and stuff like that. At least my kids are. And my son uses a gaming headset primarily for when he's like on the Xbox and stuff, but I know he keeps his volume down too, because he can hear me from upstairs even when he's playing a game. So it's not like he's going too loud. So that was a fun little segue on headphones, guys. Thanks for that. I'm trying to think if I have any other sets that I really like. The Bose ones have been my go-tos though. Like those are my travel headphones. I use them for everything. And then I use AirPods when I run. I like the way they fit in my ear, and they don't I don't actually like headphones that have the little rubbery tip that goes into your ear canal. That's why I really like the first gen AirPods. They sit just in your ear shape, but they don't actually go into your ear canal. I really like that. And I was sad to see that the Pros, the new ones, AirPods Pro, those go in your ear canal. I don't like that as much. I don't like that feel. No, I like the segue. It's great, Karthik. No problem at all. Like part of the fun of this stream is like having conversations with people. So you're not upsetting me at all. Okay, so now I need to remember for my hints. I need to remember what this property is. So we'll call this hint count. And this is going to be session attributes by user. Do I pass in the fields or do I not pass in the fields? That's something I always confuse myself on. So if I get here, get user record. See, I save it with the fields already gone. So that means that when I do this, right here, this should be user dot. Thank you, Karthik. I will check you out later, man. I want to see this haircut. Session attributes dot user dot. What did I call it? Hint count for user. Hint count. I like when I'm consistent. Hint count. And so then this should become hint count. Okay, so let's give that a run and just see what we get. So we'll do an ask deploy lambda this time. That should be pretty quick, right? Normally lambdas are pretty fast. Awesome. And then let's just go to the dev console and give this a run. All right, so we're gonna open scavenger hunt. It's gonna say undefined or something because it doesn't, I haven't fixed the data for this week yet. Or it could error out. What's happening? What are we doing right now, Alexa Simulator? There was a problem with the... we always got to go look at logs, right? We make any change, and all of a sudden we've got to dig into our logs and see what went wrong. Why can't I just be perfect? Why can't it just work every time the first time? Huh. Did I really do that? And not even notice it? I did. Hint intent handler. Thanks, Trey Last. Good luck with the garden. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on Wednesday at the latest. Alright, we're pushing our code again. Hopefully there's no more silly mistakes like that. This should just work this time. Lambda function is being updated. Come on, Lambda, let's do this. Okay, so that's good. Let's try this one more time. I don't know what took it so long to spin up, but let's see if it works this time. Open scavenger hunt, short audio, something like, you've already beaten this week's game. Great. I don't think that I have, but that's okay. All I want to do is say hint. Hint intent? Why did you hit the fallback intent? Or the... Did I not save? I did. Look at that. If your handler doesn't work... Why are these issues and bugs so obvious only after I've created them? Why didn't I see that I didn't do that initially? Like, that's a thing that should just happen. It would be really interesting to me to have a tool, a development tool for Alexa stuff, where I go into something like this, right? I go into my developer console and I look at the build menu. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if we go developer here, and we go look at the build for this. So I'll choose edit for scavenger hunt. And I have my hint intent in here. It would be really interesting and useful for me to have like a little code block right here and just say, this is the code that I want to run when they hit this intent. I think that would be super cool. Right? Instead of having to build out like a whole other code view and one giant thing. I mean, I would run into a lot of issues where I'd have to repeat myself or whatever, but maybe I could build functions in. I don't know. I feel like there's a thing we could do here that would be awesome. The question was, what does the option T do? So if I type ask deploy, it will take my model, it'll take my lambda, and it'll take any in-skill purchases I have, and it'll deploy all of them, and validate and check all of that stuff. So the T stands for target. It's just the shorthand. Here, let me clear this out. So when I do ask deploy, I could also do this, target lambda. It's just shorthand. But what this does is only pushes my lambda. It doesn't push my model. I don't have to wait for that validation and all the other stuff that happened because I didn't change my model. So there's no reason to push it. So you can do -T or you can do --target. And in either case, it's the same thing. But it tells it just to push the one thing. And that's really handy, especially when you only made a change to your code. Why would I want to push my ISPs up again? I don't want to do that. So this is an easy way to kind of manage that from the CLI. Just say -T lambda or -T model or -T ISP, and you can just push the one thing that you changed. Okay, so I think we're good. Let's give this a try. Open scavenger hunt. Hint. You currently have 0 hints available. Now let's make sure that it's not just giving me a 0 every time. Let's change hint count to like 32, which I don't think I'm going to allow people to get to. We'll limit the number they can buy. But hint count is 32. If I come back to this and I say hint again, it is pulling my value directly out of the database. You currently have 32 hints available. Do you want to use one? Okay, so that was pretty easy, right? Just by adding a field to Airtable and referencing that value here, I am able to determine what their hint count is. Now this is the hint count that I think they have. What doesn't have, how did I just lose 9 viewers? Man, I made everybody mad. The hint count is just a mechanism for me to keep track of how many hints the user owns, possesses, currently has. What I don't know, and maybe I don't care, is how many times have they purchased it. So I will need to do a bunch of functionality, a bunch of logic to determine when they buy a hint, how do I increment that number? And when they use a hint, how do I decrement that number? So I think we can do the decrement part now. The increment part is harder because I have to build all of the ISP functionality, which is not an insignificant amount of work. We have to be able to make an offer. We have to be able to upsell them. We have to be able to catch all those responses and do appropriate things with them. So that probably will be a good part of the beginning of Monday. We'll do that. Or not Monday, Wednesday. But I think for now we can at least do the decrement part. So I am saying, do you want to use one? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to use a hint? I'd like to be specific. You can only use one per game. This is not following my rules of speech. The question should be at the end. You can only use one per game. Should go here. You have 32 hints available. You can only use one per game. Are you sure you want to use your hint? A hint now. Okay, so that's kind of how I'll phrase the speech. Now, if you'll recall, what we built a while back was a yes-no handler. This is where I can capture yeses and nos and do appropriate things with them. So you can see here that I have a switch statement for previous action. And in here I have, then I toggle on yes and no. So what we're going to do is just add a new case to this, like so. And this is going to be the hint intent. So if they were on the hint intent, and now they ended up at yes and no, I can say no. I don't know what I'm going to do here. They were given a puzzle. I say, what is your answer? They say, give me a hint. I probably just send them back to the puzzle with some new speech. I've saved your hint for later. So what's nice about my give next puzzle is that I have this condition which is pre-speech. And so I can say, okay, I've saved your hint for later, and then it's going to go right back into the puzzle that they're supposed to be solving. But if they say yes, then what I need to do, update user record. I don't think this is actually what I want to do, because that was just for phone numbers and validation and stuff. I think I want to just get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this because I don't want that to happen either. But we're going to have to do like give the user the hint for this puzzle. That'll be the last thing we do. First thing we need to do is decrement the hint count of the user's record in Airtable. Okay, so this gives me a little bit of work to do, and I think I have an update. Let's just find an update. So this is the statement that I would use to update the user's record. So we'll just take that into our change phone number. What is this one? We're too far up. This is my hint intent. Where's my yes, no? It's the next one up here? Yeah, okay. So we're going to decrement the hint count of the user's record in Airtable. Like so. So we'll take this. There's another thing we need to do too. If they said they want to do this, we also need to make sure they haven't already used a hint. Has the user already used a hint this game? And I wonder if we can know that somehow. I wonder if I could do some kind of summary field or something. That seems like a thing I can figure out in Airtable, but what I don't want to do is have to make another call. I don't want to have to make another call to the database just to look this up. So I don't care for right now. I'll let you use all the hints and then we can add that restriction later. I have my API key. I have my database. I have the Airtable user. The ID is going to be this. And for fields, what am I doing when I do this down here? Go to definition, get user record. Where did I find that update? Where does that value fields come from? Oh, this is where I'm currently working. I am not using Cognito user pool for this, no. This is where I am grabbing the fields. Oh, I was creating my own fields object, I see. So I think I can do this easier. I need to see what the syntax looks for this. I don't want to just like do this blind. API.airtable.com. We'll go look at the stuff for this. We'll look at the user table. We'll look at updating a record. Look at JavaScript. So I have fields as an object, and then I just need name value pairs. Okay. So this is going to be hint count. And then our hint count was this up here. Hint count is the value that I want. So we'll set this here. And that should update my record. And it would be really cool if I could do this. Resolve record 0.fields. That would be a sweet move. So just to explain what I'm trying to accomplish there, session attributes.user is the user object that I hold on to user data for during the time that the skill is being used. So it's while we have a session open. Now, the thing that I'm anticipating is that they're going to use, they have 30 hints. So they come in and they use a hint, and I update my record in my database to 29. But my session attributes, the object that I'm holding on to, the one I'm using as my reference, is going to say that it's 30 still. So if they were to say hint and then hint again, what would our value actually be? I think I'm okay because I actually make a call to the database every time you come back to the skill. So every time Alexa asks you a question and you respond, every one of those I get the user record again. So I think I'm okay. Maybe I don't need to do that. But let's do that. And just, this should work. So I should be able to say hint, and then hint, and then hint, and what I should see is that count go down every time. And we'll run this for those of you that are wondering about the -t. Same idea, just pushing my lambda. While we're doing that, let's see if there's anyone we can raid, because I do want to raid today. Karthik's already live. I think we're going to go raid Karthik. We'll do that at 11:45, and that way we can see this haircut. Okay, so that's going to be our plan here in about 6 minutes. Is we're going to go raid Karthik. Okay, my code has been pushed. Let's go to the developer console and see what we get here. So I'm going to quit just to make sure I'm out of all the stuff. Okay, open scavenger hunt. Make sure it's still working. Skill is working as expected. Great. I say hint. Are you sure you want to use a hint now? Yes. I never sent you anywhere. But now, if we quit the skill, or probably we can just say open scavenger hunt again. If I say hint this time, it should say I have 31 hints left. Or I guess I could just check my database. That didn't work. What was our error? It's just because I never sent a response back. That's why it broke. But shouldn't we have made the call to the database anyway? Shouldn't that have still happened? Oh, because I didn't decrement it. You guys are killing me. These are bugs that we should be able to find. It's my fault. Totally my fault. Session attributes that user at a hit count -1. If you don't knock the number down, then you can't expect the number to go down. And I have to pass them off to something else, so I'm going to have to create like a hint function or something that is the responder, kind of like I did with the puzzle one. I'll have to create a hint responder that is the thing that says the response. Or I guess I could just build it right here. This will be the only place that ever gives you a hint. I call the puzzle thing from all over the place. All right, let's try this one more time now that the math is right. Hint. And you say that I have 32 hints. Do I want to use one now? Yes. And the skill will break. Okay. So now we open the skill. And we say hint. 31. Please say 31. 31 hints available. And my database says 31 hints. Okay, so we have the decrementing part working really well. The thing that we don't have is the selling of new hints. And maybe I should give everybody a free hint. That's stuff to figure out. We can worry about that. Let's add that as a note for ourselves. Should new users get a free hint when they first start playing the game? Okay. That is saved. The decrementing is working. The last thing I should probably do is just do something like this, just to drop it in there so it doesn't break. So let's go get my hint handler, wherever that is. Up. Okay, so in here, this is just where I ask them if they want to use it. It's the yes, no that actually does the work. So we'll do it in here. Well, I have some logic for that, which is the question. That's a good question, Shri. Which is that will happen here in my hint intent handler. If the user doesn't have a hint, then we will offer to sell them one. So I haven't written any of that logic yet, but that's if their number is 0, that is where this logic will happen. I just haven't built that yet, but I've got the note for me to do it in the place that it needs to happen. So we will do that. It's just not there yet. So for this, I should be able to say speak, and we could even do like session attributes dot game dot hint. Is that what I called it? If I go to the puzzle itself, hint. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do this. I want to do, this is going to be pretext for a puzzle. So we're going to call the give next puzzle intent the function, because I want to give them the hint and then take them right back to the puzzle, right? That makes sense. So this is going to be, here's your hint. We're going to do like a break time equals 0.5 seconds. And then we got to add the hint itself. So session attributes dot game 0 dot hint. Okay, so that should send them. Do I await that? Oh, I have to return it. Yeah. So let's see if that works, and then we're gonna go visit Karthik and his shaved head. I can't tell you guys how fast 2 hours goes on here. I'm always blown away by like, oh my gosh, we're already done. It makes me sad because I like doing this stuff. I like working on this project, and working on it 2 hours every other day is not always enough. Okay, code has been updated. Let's try this. So we're here. You have 31 hints. Do you want to use a hint now? Hint. You have 31 hints available. Do you want to use one? Yes. What just happened? What just happened? Did I delete like my user record or something? What just... No. My hint count is good. Let's quit this and try one more time. Open scavenger hunt. Hint. You currently have 30 hints available. You can use one per game. Are you sure you want to use a hint now? Yes. Why are we going there? Oh, we're getting an error of some kind? Is there an error I'm not aware of here? Cannot read property hint of undefined. Karfatak, thank you for being here. Thank you for the follow, man. Much appreciated. We're just in the middle of building a scavenger hunt and figuring out what kind of dumb errors I've created. Cannot read property hint of undefined. Oh, I know why. Puzzle. This is, we are looking for the 3 last names of Joe Exotic. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the follow greatly. Karfatak. Karfatak? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Let's try this one more time now that I have all my data in there. The property doesn't come through, so now if I say hint, we're probably down to 29. Yeah, but if I say yes now, we should get the hint and then the puzzle again. Getting another error? Yeah, I thought you might like this, Mr. Griff. This is my shirt of the day. I decided this week is going to be all conference t-shirts since I don't get to go to any. This is the normal week that Stir Trek would happen, and it makes me sad that we're not able to do that. Cannot read property hint of undefined. Line 332. Okay, that's right here. Oh, well, okay, so let's fix our data. I really wanted to go play, but first thing I need to do is game. This needs to be April 25th, 2020 now. This needs to be whatever next Sunday is. Or Saturday. May something, 2nd. Okay. And then I need to get rid of user puzzle. If we do our actual clean data, I think that will be really good. So for those of you guys that don't know, One Kev Griff, he's also a conference organizer, and this is his event, Revolution Conference in Virginia Beach. I only got to go there once, but I had a great time, and I hope to get back very soon, whenever we all start having events again. Okay, now that my data is fixed, let's see if this works. Hint. Yes, I want to use a hint. So the condition that I think I'm hitting is in my yes-no intent. We're checking to see if this is hint intent. Is that what I called it down here? And hint intent, previous action is hint intent. So let's look at that. In the logs. What is my session data for previous action? Hint intent. So it's definitely coming into yes, no, which is what I would expect it to do. And we're doing the update. It's that when I send them to the give next puzzle function, that's where we're falling apart. Well, WKY, don't leave just this second, because we're gonna go do a raid, which we've never done before. So I'm gonna send all of you guys somewhere, if we can figure out the right browser to do this. Stream manager. Raid a channel. Let's go raid Karthik and see what that haircut looks like. Start raid. I don't know what this does. And then, how do I raid now? Raid now. And here we are. We're raiding with a party of 10. And now I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, look at that hair. He looks fantastic. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for my stream. I know I just sent all of you away to Karthik's channel. But thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll see you again very soon.